Well, we are almost 1 week into the Atlantic hurricane season, and as lockdowns and restrictions are being lifted, there will be more efforts towards reinforcing infrastructure and safeguarding possessions. Last year, Hurricane Dorian devastated portions of Grand Bahama and Abaco, and with so much time lost due to the pandemic-related restrictions, many people are looking for tips. Our Crystal Darling spoke to environmentalists about their suggestions on what everyone can do to be safe.
So many areas to cover in hurricane preparedness, but there are ways that everyone can help. BREEF Executive Director CASURINA McKinney-LAMBERT says that protecting the environment pays off because it's the main thing that protects against strong hurricanes.
One of the first steps when we're preparing for hurricanes is thinking about where we're building. The Bahamas is a very low-lying country. The highest point in our whole country is only 206 feet above sea level, and we're very vulnerable to storm surge. So thinking about where we build, building elevated off the ground, and building setback from the coast. You see a lot of buildings going up these days that are right on the primary beach dune, and that really doesn't make any sense because we know that they're vulnerable to hurricanes and the sea level is rising. So as the sea level rises, the beach moves inland, and if there's nowhere to move inland to, then the beach encroaches buildings and roads and other infrastructure.
And Perry Institute for Marine Science senior scientist Dr. KRISTA SHERMAN says that a huge focus should be on rebuilding and recovering the hardest hit areas.
Following Hurricane Dorian, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done around Grand Bahama and Abaco in particular. There's still a lot of debris that's out there on land and in water, and so that needs to be a priority to continue to tackle those issues so that they're not an additional source of stress during this hurricane season. God forbid if we were to have another hurricane, a major hurricane, which I hope we don't. But those are some of the things that we can do for people that are involved in construction and that industry.
And Science and Perspective ecologist Dr. ANCELLINO says that making assessments is critical.
I think some of the most important things that our government and the organizations that are supporting others can do is firstly mapping their resources. So you need to know where your resources are for you to help people and what it's going to take for you to get those resources to the people that need them in the event of a big hurricane. After Hurricane Dorian, we didn't know where the emergency supplies were. We didn't know where the people, the victims were. And that was a real big issue. So I think right now, before we have a storm, we need to really get that conversation going and also communicate that to the people on the ground.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.